All right, Kathy.
Hi,
Hello.
Richard.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
How was your day?
I went to Townsend.
How was the house?
Yeah, it's all right still. It's
Yeah.
all right. Yeah. There are a few things that they need to fix there, right? But
Yeah.
it's all good. But yeah, definitely something they gotta fix. They gotta fix some stuff. They got away with a lot of stuff over there. But overall the house is good. I went to the neighbors in the area and I was asking them if they wanted to rent or thing. There's one family there. They're looking for a place, so they're considering renting.
Oh, nice.
Mhm. Hollins, missed you, man. How's it going, brother? You're
Doing well,
muted.
doing well. How's it going?
Doing good, man. Doing good. All right. Okay, yeah, we have a few people that are joining us today on the Wealthy Link Up, which is great. Uh, And yeah, we'll get into it because this honestly, it's more a platform for everyone to showcase their business, everyone to let us know what they have going on, inviting each other to each other's stuff, getting to know each other, and just building and breaking bread, right? That's the objective of the Wealthy Link Up, because there's always a way that we could work together, even if we're in the same industry or not, right? There's a way for us all to work together, right? And so I thank everyone for joining us today on the Wealthy Link Up, right? And let's get into it. Okay, so where do I have it here? Okay, we have the presentation here. Here we go. So is my screen being shared right now? Or no? I'm not sharing screen yet.
No, you're not sharing screen.
Oh, Mr. Tristan Murray, thank you for joining us, brother.
Thank you for having me.
That's amazing. Oh, and a glorious woman of wonders. Blessings. Thank you for joining us. Mona, thank you for joining us. And with this event, with this wealthy link up, this is something that we want to do once a month, and we want for everyone on here to invite people to the session, so we could have like breakout sessions where we could have breakout rooms, and everyone really going deeper into their business. But this is the ground floor. This is the second time that we're doing a wealthy link up, right? But it's something that we want to continue to do, just so people could be aware of what you do. Let us know why it's important of what you do, right? And bring awareness to us so that as we go out and we're in this road, connecting with others, we have each other on the back of our minds, right? Let's break bread, right? Experience the power of networking, connect with entrepreneurs from diverse backgrounds and propel your business forward as we foster relationships and embark on a journey towards entrepreneurial excellence. Everyone knows the entrepreneurial game is not an easy game, right? It's something where every day you gotta be doing something. You gotta be doing something to grow your business, or whatever it is that you're doing. You have to be pouring into your business every day, right? So it's very important that we have platforms for us to go out and be a part of, so we could grow our web. In a sense, we grow our base, right? We have a form. You're gonna see it posted in a chat in Mylin. Please send the link for the form, so as we go through the session, before you just fill in, let us know more about your business, what you do, right? And what we want to do is create a business database, of all the entrepreneurs and business owners, professionals that are on the Wealthy Link Up, so that we can engage with each other afterwards, right? Like, let's say someone has something really compelling and something that you really want to get involved with. We want to be able to allow you to reach them, right? We have a few more people that joined us as well. Welcome, Parveen. Thank you for joining us. All right, and yes, let's continue. So my name is Richard Adokesi, wealth creator, real estate broker, and my whole objective is to pretty much provide, opportunities and have an understanding of wealth creation, right? From, obviously this is something that's on everyone's mind in terms of creating wealth, and, through the journey that I've been on, it really come to the understanding in terms of wealth being really a feeling, wealth being, feeling good and making sure that you're in that good state as frequent as possible, because everything moves in waves, right? And with everything, you're going to go through a wave of emotions. But if you're in a state of gratitude, right, and you're grateful for all you do have, then that's how more come to you, right? That's how more experiences, opportunities come to you, right? And and as a result, a byproduct of that, your finances will increase. That's something that I found as well. There's people who try to get quick money, or there's different things that are thing. But if the foundation is not based on the principle of love, where no one's being cheated, no one's being we're taken advantage of, right? Then you continue to prosper, right? And with that, that's pretty much what we want to spread throughout the platform with Create Wealth Network, right? Create Wealth Network is a network of like-minded individuals building a foundation on wealth creation principles, right? The map book is a book that I put together, and it's the foundational piece to wealth creation. It's a 365-day mindset program that enables you to implement universal laws and take action on your goals, right? So this program is for those who are committed. If you're committed to wealth creation, if you're willing to do what it takes, right, to get the results that you want, then this is a program that you want to get enrolled in, right? If you're not committed and you're not ready to commit and go at it 365, then the program may not be for you, right? But anyone that's really looking to really take things to the next level, in their life, in all aspects of their life, then the MapBook program is available for you, right? You go to createwealthnetwork.com, you can enroll in the program. It's $200 per year, right? And with that, we have a weekly GPS session on Sundays. We have a session where we really go deep into the mind and just get a better understanding of who we are and the potential that we have, right? And that's a program that really is my passion to get this out there, because it took 5 years of put this program together, right? And right now it's been released for about 5 years, right? And we have some wealth creators that are here, on the Wealthy Link Up, who are part of the program and have seen the results from it. We got a message from one of our wealth creators in our network, and she mentioned she actually fell off for a bit and then she got back on, but she said she noticed the difference of her not being plugged into the MapBook and being plugged into the MapBook, right? And it's something that you will notice, especially if you're going at it for say you get past 100 days and you start to realize everything that's happening, right? Because opportunities are always out there, right? But it's all about the frequency that you're on, right? And if you are programming in your mind, your ideal life and what it looks like, right? Then it's kind of like antennas that are out in the world that are drawing attention to what it is that you're putting your attention to. And it's like a magnet where you're attracting everything that you're putting in your mind is happening. So when something is presented to you in the physical, you'll know right away, okay, I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do this, because you're tuned into that frequency, right? It's a simplistic program, right? But it's complex at the same time, right? Because we've been conditioned a certain way for our entire lives, right? So to adapt a new way of thinking, it does take some time to actually, understand what's going on with this program. That's why we have a GPS session every Sunday, 8 p.m. And everyone's invited. You could join the GPS session. But the MapBook is really where you're going to get the results when you join that, when you get involved with the MapBook. So collaboration with the Wealthy Link Up, this is something that we really want to put emphasis on, because collaboration is way more better and effective than competition, right? Because competition, when you're thinking competition, then you're thinking lack. You're thinking there's not enough. You're thinking that, you know, or I have to compete with these other people in my business because if I don't get the business, then, you know, they're going to get the business, right? But collaboration is way more powerful than competition, because with collaboration, you hear that 6 degrees of separation, right? And by us collaborating, you know, we actually have a stronger reach. We have a further reach to get out to more people. Okay, Tristan Murray said, collaboration is win-win. Competition is win-lose. Thank you for that, Tristan. And that's the truth, right? So if we're thinking collaboration, when we're having conversations with people, when we're in meetings with people, when we're negotiating with people, right? It's always good to look at the other side of the table, right? And if you get into like negotiation books, I read quite a few of them, but every one of them, they always say that a real negotiation is when both parties win, right? If you're going and negotiating, of course, you know, like the best negotiator think that they win if they got the best, and then the other side they got ripped off. But that's not a real collaboration, because and negotiation, because all parties should leave negotiation happy. All parties should believe like, yeah, I like that, you know, not go back after that. Oh, what did I just do, right? So if you're really thinking of in the minds of the person that's across the table, or the person that's across from you as you're talking to them, right? If you're really looking at things from their perspective as well as your perspective, right? Then you could really collaborate, because then you could see, okay, what is it what this person does that I could apply what I do to help them, and in return, of course, that they could do to help me, right? That's what collaboration is. And that's what the wealthy link up is, right? Because there's no such thing as competition. We are all bringing our own unique experiences if we are operating by law, right? So even if we're in the same industry, right, we're not the same, because we all have our own unique experience, right? Experiences, life experiences growing up, and even experiences of how we operate our business, how we go about our business. Somebody has an interest, maybe, you know, in a specific thing in your industry, and then you're completely different. Like me, I'm a real estate broker, right? There's people that specialize in pre-construction. There's people that specialize in resale. There's people that specialize in investing. There's people that specialize in renting. There's so many different ways of real estate. Some people specialize commercial. Even in commercial, there's buildings, there's multifamily, right? There's so many different things that are going on, right? And you know, and that's based on your interest, right? So whatever you hold in your mind on a consistent basis is exactly what you experience in life. This is a quote by Tony Robbins, right? So what are you holding in your mind? Like what are the thoughts that you have most of the time, right? And you know, the reason why the map book is so powerful is because we have these ants, right? Automatic negative thoughts that come into our minds all the time, right? So it's really important that we fill those little ant holes, right, with what we want to be thinking most of the time, right? Because if you look at this quote again, whatever you hold in your mind on a consistent basis is exactly what you will experience in your life, right? So do you find yourself with negative thoughts? Do you find yourself with doubtful thoughts? Do you, right? And if you are finding yourself in this, what are you replacing those thoughts with, right? And, you know, that's why it's so important that you're filling these holes, you know, with good information, right? Good things that are going to replenish and make sure that no ants actually get to penetrate and take over your mind, right? And you know, everyone has their ways of doing this, right? And you know, this is just another way, right? But this has been really well thought through, the map book, you know. So I do encourage anyone, if you do find yourself thinking negatively a lot or doubting yourself a lot, right? You know, come try and practice what we have going on with the MacBook, right? So Wealthy Link Up, right? We're here to set a stage, right? There's a massive amount of talented creatives in this world who do not have a platform of expression, right? Create Wealth Network aims to be that platform, right? So we have many different things that we're doing within the Create Wealth Network. Wealthy on the Street. We have the podcast. Anyone's welcome to come sit and talk on our podcast. We have our webinar sessions where you can host the webinars. And the floor is open. We just want to be that platform. We want to be a platform for everyone to be able to express themselves and express what they do, right? So they can get it out in this world, right? And getting to that, let's get right into it, right? So please, everyone, right now, introduce yourself, what you do, and how you could be of service. All right. And as you're doing that, we have 21 questions that are here. So even if you want to use these for just to stimulate your thoughts, right? But the floor is open. I want everyone to actually be able to present who you are, what you do, and if you want to answer any of these questions. All right. So we'll start with Kathy. Kathy, you're the first to join us. So Kathy, welcome, and tell us about who you are and what you do.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kathy DeChico. I am a realtor. I'm a mom, entrepreneur. I also use the MacBook. Been using MacBook for 5 years, or on my 5th year anyway. What can I add to this network? Perhaps some knowledge of the industry itself, about finance and investing, pre-construction, and then just preparing your home to get the most money for your investment. Yeah, so it's about.
All right, great. So let's go through some of the questions here. Like, what inspired you to become a real estate broker?
So I was actually kind of poached to become a real estate agent. It was something that I always kind of considered, but my goal early on, I was in the financial sector for about 15 years. And then I took another 15 years to be a stay-at-home mom. So my background was always sales and marketing. So I thought, you know what, you don't have to be, I know this may sound kind of vain, but you don't have to be young and cute to be a realtor. You can really be, anyone can be a realtor. You know what I mean? It's not like, I can't go into medical sales because I don't have a bachelor's degree, and, I'm a little bit on the older side. So that was kind of what inspired me. I was, first of all, poached and kind of, enticed into it. And I just thought it was a good fit for me. I've always loved interior design and decorating and all that kind of stuff. And then marketing, I've always really liked the marketing end of it. And it's all about people at the end of the day. And like Richard said before, collaborating with other people just makes so much sense, And then even on the negotiation side, I love what you said about, if everybody wins, then it's definitely a win.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. So can you share a success story or a milestone that you achieved with your business?
I mean, there's been so many little ones. I think in my first year in real estate, like the first little while in real estate it's really difficult because you're on your own and, you're always reaching. And unfortunately, I didn't have a good, strong, collaborative brokerage that I was working with, or a network that I was working with. And actually, that's where I met Richard. And I joined a team, and then we built a team. And from then, that's where I kind of saw success starting to happen, was collaborating with others. And I've always been a true believer that there's enough business for everybody out there. There's no need to steal, cheat, lie, all that kind of stuff. There's enough business, especially in real estate. You look around, in almost every business, you look around you and it's like, okay, he needs a house, they need to sell a house, they need to buy a house, they need a business, they need a unit. there's just real estate, like it's everywhere, right? So it's just about making those right connections and being like a good, true, honest, hardworking person. And I think anyone who has that kind of mindset and the right networks can be successful in any business.
That's amazing. So let me ask you one more question that's on here, because it just plays on with what you're just talking about. What role does networking play in your business, and how do you approach it?
Oh, networking is everything. So I approach it from any angle that I can. So networking can be walking down the street and just saying hello to someone. I mean, I've gotten listings on my porch. You know what I mean? Like people that have passed by my house. I have a listing down the street from my house right now. These two men walk past my house every single morning and we have a quick little chat. We praise God. They continue walking and then they see my sign. They're like, we saw you twice today. And then they came to my open house. You know what I mean? So that's collaboration. That's like just, it doesn't matter if it's someone at a bus stop or if it's someone that needs help. It's like, that's networking, right? The grocery store, anywhere you go, it's networking. On a bigger scale, platforms like this, platforms like the Create Wealth Network, the mastermind groups, those are all great too, because you get in groups with like-minded individuals that have the same, the same goals, in a sense that it may not be, oh, I want to make so much money this year, or I want to achieve a certain award, but those mindset goals like be more positive, helping other people, whatever the case may be. So I find that those type of networks are really, really important for not personally and for business.
All right. Thank you so much, Kathy DeChico. Everyone, this is Kathy DeChico. Let's get to know her. We'll definitely be sharing her contact, for you to get a hold of. All right, let's get to our next person on here, Tristan Murray. Tristan.
Ready and willing. Let's go.
All right. So yeah, tell us about who you are, what you do, right? Let us know more about yourself and how you're serving the community.
Well, I'm a father of two, a husband. I love Jesus with all my heart, and I'm a financial advisor. So what I do is basically I build financial game plans for my clients, right? I specialize with working with self-employed and small business owners. And in essence, because a lot of times the desire is for freedom, but it feels a lot of times as an entrepreneur, it's like, okay, the pursuit of freedom is at the cost of security, but it doesn't need to be that case. So what I seek to do is build financial game plans where my clients can not only grow their wealth, but also protect it and also protect their family should the unthinkable happen.
Okay. So what inspired you to become an entrepreneur in this particular industry?
As you know, Richard, I really like numbers. And growing up as a young male, I grew up in Jane Infant, so seeing poverty all around and just the negative impact that not having the right financial things in place and having wealth could have on families, young men turning to crime to try and make the next dollar and things of that nature. So, from a young age, I was always like, I wanted to be wealthy because I wanted to make the lives of the people around me better.
Okay. And what challenges have you faced as an entrepreneur, and how have you overcome them?
As you know, as an entrepreneur, especially when you're not in the safety net of a company, you're basically sink or swim, right? And so the challenges you face is the ability to not only manage your business, but at the same time grow it, right? And so how I've overcome that is always analyzing, always, doing inventory and taking, you got to inspect what you expect. So if this is not working, it's like, okay, it's not a matter of, okay, let me just put my head down and work harder. It's why is it not working, right? And so basically analyzing what's effective, what's not effective, and being willing to change.
Okay. So, can you give any examples of that? Like, if you don't like expanding on that a little bit.
Oh yeah, sure. For example, like when I just started in the business, a lot of my clients, a lot of my leads came from just organically, because how I started off in sales and things of that nature, I'm really good at speaking to people one on one. So like I used to be a personal training director at LA Fitness, and I used to sell personal training, and how you do that is you approach a person one on one. So a lot of how when I started out, I was used to that way of selling. But then now when I realize, okay, now I can only get in touch with, I can only meet so many people. So what I had to do is step out of my comfort zone and actually start now putting myself out there in terms of social media, marketing, and things of that nature. So that's one way that I adapted.
That's deep. That's deep. So, let me get to the question 11 right there. Can you talk about any social or environmental initiatives that your businesses are involved with? So, let's say even just in general with social media right now, right? How are you expanding on social media? Like, what are you doing to expand yourself on social media? Are you because I know one thing, a lot of people are uncomfortable talking in the camera and stuff like that. Is that your case, or like,
No, I'm not uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable talking in public speaking. Like one of the things actually, one of my clients, she runs a business and a non-for-profit that actually takes care of seniors, right? And so what she had me do is I actually spoke at a high tea event that she was having a couple weeks ago, right? So putting myself out there to help people, and because it doesn't matter how good we are at what we do, if no one knows about it, it doesn't help anyone.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
And so I also actually started doing ads on Facebook, so things of that nature. So that's how I've sought to, expand and do that.
Okay. Last question here. What are your long-term goals and vision for your business?
Oh, okay, great. That's awesome. For me, long term, I want to build an empire where the main thrust is helping families build generational wealth. Stop the cycle of each generation starting over and over again, right? And position helping changing, and that's even with the premise of the map book, helping changing the mindset of our culture.
Mhm.
So that's my main thrust.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we have Portia. Portia, are you here with us? Maybe she's away right now, so we'll get back to her.
I'm
Oh,
here
she's
with
here. She's here. Okay, Portia.
you. You had to put me after him, eh?
Yeah, I know you're, but remember, see, we're talking about collaboration here, so it just makes sense, right? It just makes sense. So talk about yourself, what you do, what you're about.
Okay, so my name is Portia, and I help women, moms, and families change their mindset so that they can build legacy wealth. I'm all about legacy, because if it's not legacy, we're not doing it. Because if 30 generations can't benefit from the moves you're making today, then you got to rethink what it is that you're doing. So how do I do that? I do that through, I do a lot of workshops empowering our community, because I think one thing that all of us can identify is that our community, the mindset is a big issue to why wealth is not being created. It's not because we can't, it's because we coming from that survival mindset. So we need to break those things. Right.
Mhm.
So right now, what was the other question?
Well, you go deep into what you do, and then we'll throw some questions in there. All right.
Oh, and then also, so right now I actually got an opportunity to run a lot of workshops this summer, because I'm focused, because legacy begins with kids. And I think sometimes one thing that my focus with my business is, yes, I can help parents create legacy, but I also want to evoke that change for parents to involve their kids in this, right? So I teach a lot of families about, okay, we are building legacy, but how do we transfer? Because the transfer is what's going to create that legacy. How do we make sure that if we're budgeting, we're teaching the kids why we're budgeting, what we're doing, involving them at the kitchen table, so that money doesn't become an issue, so that when your kids, because if your kids don't know how money is going on in a household, that's why a lot of kids will have temper tantrums. But if we sit them at the table and they understand why they can't get that Pokemon card, why they can't get that McDonald's, right? They'll be able to have a better understanding and they'll be able to minimize all of that. So that's in a nutshell what it is that I do. So even looking for collaborations in the areas of businesses, I want to be able to go to, small businesses. Let's have a conversation, because my background is in HR. And lately, I've been really looking at companies. A lot of companies are losing a lot of money in turnovers because employees are not productive because they're financially stressed. Employees are leaving the workplace because they think they need more money, but they don't. They just need to manage what it is that they have, so that like shoppers, Scotiabank says you're richer than what you think, right? So a lot of us are richer than what we think, but we need to analyze our money so that we can create that habit, so that we can transfer it to our kids, so that when we transfer wealth to our kids, they know how to maintain and sustain it. So that is Portia. My business is called Grace Haven Financial, and we want to be that safe place for people to talk about these things, because especially culture people, we don't want to talk about money. Money makes it comfortable, but I want to create that safe space so that talking about money, we make it fun. Sometimes I have clients on my call crying, laughing, doing all of that, but you're going to make sure you're going to make money fun, because we got to deal with it. They're printing money. So as long as they're printing money, we got to talk about it.
Yeah, that's deep. So question I want to throw at you is, how do you measure the success and impact of your business beyond financial metrics?
I think it's about impact, right? Because like a lot of times, yes, is the impact, and also when you see people send people, right? And when you see people keep on coming back, I think that's more than anything for a business. The referrals and also the people coming back and coming and telling you that, my child is doing this. My child is excited about talking about money, right? I think that's the greatest tool. I do a lot of workshops. So I have even people, they might never buy from me, but I hear in the community, this person is, my friend, she called me. She's like, oh, what you're doing is working. Don't stop. I'm like, what do you mean don't stop? She's like, her friend called her and I guess she was complaining about money. And she was like, her friend was like, but you've been going to Portia's workshops. Have you been implementing what she's been saying? Have you been tracking your expenses? Have you been doing your budget? Have you been on track with this? Have you been make sure you have life insurance, right? And then my friend is like, wow, like people that she wouldn't think will be listening are doing it. And the community, and I think you, Richard, you see like the impact in even the GCO. We hear it, we see it, right? And that's more than anything.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. So how do you approach innovation and staying ahead of the curve in your industry?
I think staying ahead of the curve is really big, because remember, I am in a saturated industry, right? So in a saturated industry like real estate, I'm also a mortgage agent. I do credit coaching, right? The only thing that differentiates my business is my credit coaching, because nobody can teach credit like me. Like it's proven and tested. Nobody can teach credit like me, right? So how I stay ahead is, making sure I'm staying in time with technology, with that, because financial stuff is always changing. It's an ever-changing industry. There's always something. So you need to make sure you're ahead of the game, so that when your clients are calling you, crying about interest rates and stuff like that, you know how to advise them. You know how to, kind of shape them. And technology, social media, right? Social media, studying, even right now, I'm looking at I feel like right now we all need to get into email, because we can't call 1,000 clients in a day. But if you have a good email marketing strategy, you have some funnels, I'm telling you, you can keep people at the top of your mind. So make sure you're looking at, okay, but before you do anything, you need to know the market that you're serving. You cannot be serving, 40-year-olds, and you're sitting on TikTok thinking you're going to make an impact. You're not, because those people might not be on there, right? So you need to look at your clients, study your market, study where they're at, and get them where they're at. Study their habits and their behaviors. What's their pain point? A lot of time we're selling to people and we don't know their pain point, because then if you want to stay ahead of it, study the people that you serve. They will give you all the tools, all the, all the clues that you need. So when there's new emerging technology, you know how to tap into it because you know your market.
Okay. And what role does it play in your business, and how do you approach it?
I think networking plays a big role because, community is very important to me, right? And network is another form of community. You're going out there, you're getting to know people. But I also feel like we need to network with intentionality. You can't just go out there and just get to know everybody. And then it's like, okay, what are you going there for? Right? What is the purpose of what you're doing? I'm not saying you're going to go scout everybody and thinking you're going to get business from them. No, it's not about that. It's about cultivating relationships that could potentially become mutually beneficial, right? Because with me, if I sense that you are somebody like, I'll let you in for a little bit, but my eyes are out watching, because at the end of the day, it has to be mutually beneficial. We can't be going out there taking and not give, right? How does your network, because your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
Because it's so crucial, you need to even be praying about the people that you're selling. Pray to God. Ask God to send you the right people that you can network with. Tell God to send you to the right spaces to network with people, because it's crazy out here. Because you might go network with somebody that could be the one that the enemy is sending to snatch your destiny. So you got to be careful when it comes to meeting with people. So that's why intentionality is very, very important. What do you want? And you go out there to seek those spaces where you can network with like-minded people, where you can have a mutually beneficial exchange.
All right. Thank you. So one last question for you, right? How can individuals or other businesses collaborate or support your venture?
Call me, because every business needs what it is that I do, because we're not just trying to change individual families, we're trying to make an impact in communities, right? And finances is one area in our community that people seem to not have a way out of, right? So we have to be like, if I'm gonna collaborate with people, like I have a sense where, like, if I see that you're all about you, I'll just slide out of your DM real quick, right? Because collaboration has to be for a bigger picture. What's your vision, right? What's your vision for your community? It goes beyond the individual. Because if I'm helping your family, Richard, I know for a fact that helping you and your wife and your kids, I just helped somebody who's now going to go out there and make a big impact. So one of my core values is pass it forward. I always tell my clients, whatever I teach you, pass it forward, right? Make sure you go and teach other people, because when you teach other people, they also get an opportunity to also teach other people. And that's how we can change the world, when we don't keep information to ourselves.
Hey, that's amazing. Thank you, Portia.
No problem.
All right, we have Powerful Steve with us. Powerful Steve, are you with us?
Yes, I am with you 100%, my brother.
All right. Good stuff. So please tell us about who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into some more questions. Go ahead.
I'm Powerful Steve, and I'm eating watermelon. That's all you need to know about me right now. I'm Powerful Steve, the king of inspiration, and it's only when you're aiming high you spread your wings and truly fly. You know me already, Richard. I wear many hats. I happen to be an individual that God has blessed with many different talents. And so from a perspective of what do I do to create wealth, I'm actually in blockchain technology, Web3, and metaverse. And so this is new technology that is literally taking over the internet. A lot of people don't know right now that Web2 technology, it's on its way out, and Web3 is coming in. And what that basically means is you're going to be dealing with a completely different internet. So a lot of people don't realize how close that is around the corner. But to give you a brief synopsis, Mr. Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook, he basically said that at the end of 2025, You would no longer be able to access your Facebook social media platform in Web 2 technology. That means there's an expectation that Web 3 will completely be dominating at that time. So what that means is you need to start getting prepared for that right now. Now, that said, we at GS Partners, we actually have a marketplace for you to operate your business. Every business you know right now is going to be on a blockchain because that is the platform that is going to govern the internet as the change comes. So our company, we're out of the gate. We got ourselves our own blockchain. We got ourselves our own banking system that deals with not only fiat, but we also deal with digital assets as well. Because once again, the government is sitting down right now trying to figure out how to regulate the digital asset space, or what we call decentralized financing. So I'm all about that right now. I'm all about creating wealth from a digital asset perspective, and the entire world is my customer. Matter of fact, I'm beginning my travels throughout the world right now. I'm going to be in Jamaica in a matter of a couple weeks, and then next month, in August and September, I'll be in Ghana and Nigeria and Kenya and Uganda, basically opening up business centers of what I do. Because no matter where you are, you need money and you need to establish yourself economically. So that's what I do. I'm from the perspective of what's called passive income. I don't work for money anymore. I have my money work for me. My money works for me 24/7, 365. My money, when it gets pregnant, it gives me more money. And so that's what I'm all about, and that's what I do.
Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. And you were talking about being innovative. So I want to throw that question to you. How do you approach innovation and staying ahead of the curve in your industry?
Well, that's very important. I'm glad you brought that up because I'll give you an example and then I'll answer the question. Blockbuster, I think everybody on this phone call here knows Blockbuster. I was into Blockbuster. Literally, it was across the street, and they had about 150 stores right across Canada. And they were told that digital viewing of television on the computer is going to grow. That's Netflix. They said, hey, we got our loyal customers. We've had them for how long? Our customers are going to be here. And so they didn't want to make the shift, meaning, as you said, innovation. They didn't make the shift. And in about a year's time, 150 Blockbuster store disappeared off the face of Canada. I don't know anywhere else. I'm just talking about Canada. Why? Because they didn't want to roll with the times. They didn't want to innovate. And so innovation is absolutely essential when you want to stay current with what's out there. Let me give you another example. Right now, the Gen Z, they're calling for cleaner fuel efficiency, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of companies that's dealing with renewable energy, things about electric and solar power and wind turbine and water energy, all of these things are going to be huge. Why? Because the people are calling for it. Now, I want to share with you something that happened to me. This is a true story. I was at a business event, a live business event, and I handed my card to this 21-year-old young man, entrepreneur, and he refused to take my card. And then right in front of everybody, I mean, we're in public here, he basically reamed me out for giving him a business card. And then he said, you baby boomers, man, you guys just know how to destroy the planet. You don't know how to preserve nothing. You don't need to be giving me a business card today because of innovation. You could simply have it on your phone. And he took out his phone and he showed me, and all you got to do is scan this and all your information will be in my phone. But you guys are still bent on killing our trees. I was silent because everything he said was the truth. And I took it, Richard. I took it. But that's what you're talking about. innovation and the importance to stay current. If I innovated myself, I wouldn't have got reamed out by a 21-year-old, okay? So yes, GS Partners, we're all about innovation. As you see, there's a shift right now going from fiat money to digital assets, and we're right on top of that, and we're at the right place at the right time.
Okay. So how do you leverage technology or digital platforms to grow your business? Because you're talking about this technology, so I want you to go deeper. That's a good question for you. How do you leverage technology or digital platforms to grow your business?
Well, first of all, you got to have the money.
Mhm.
I heard Portia mention something that's very important. She was right. How do you stay communicated with 1,000 customers? How do you call 1,000 customers? By creating a database, a funnel system, and once you write the one letter, they're already in the system, and you push send, and it goes out to 1,000 people. And so, in order for you to do that, you got to have the money. You got to be paying somebody. If you don't know how to set up the funnel system for yourself, you got to pay somebody to set up the funnel system for yourself. Matter of fact, Richard, you have a fantastic system, right? The map book and Create Wealth Network, you got yourself an excellent system. And I should be asking you, you spent some money for that, right?
Almost definitely. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
my
But
answer.
it's
You have
needed
some money,
because
baby.
okay, so yeah, you got to spend some money, and I think that's a big one right there, because a lot of people don't want to spend money, right? But I
Yeah.
think in order for you to earn more, you got to put in, like you got to either your time or money, right? And my whole thing is to work less and earn more. I don't want to spend my time. I want to work less, like in terms of time wise, me physically being there, right? And for that to be happening, yeah, you have to go out and spend, right? And in return, yeah, of course, you look at your numbers, just like Portia said, you got to look at your numbers and then see your metrics and just make sure you're on the positive side, right? But it's definitely the way to innovate yourself, right? And you're right on with that, man. I love how you mentioned that you got to spend money. It's a quick answer, but it's so accurate.
Yeah, it's so accurate. Let me close with this, because I know you got some other people on there. Listen, what I do is make money, plain and simple, in this industry. Real estate agents, your challenge is when you come to somebody, you need to say to them, you need X amount of money in order for the down payment, or you have to have some kind of phenomenal credit. Mr. Is it Hitton? I don't know. You talked about financial advising. Was that?
Tristan. We're gonna go to Hinton next. Yeah,
Tristan, right? In order to share somebody about financial advising, they need money, right? And so I basically, solve the problem of real estate agents. You have right now people that want to buy a house, but they're saying, hey, we need another year to save another $20,000 or $30,000. That's what I do. I show them how to accelerate that, because right now, digital asset, the benefits of what we do right now is this. The people have called for digital asset. That's why literally right now, the digital world is unregulated right now. Literally, it's unregulated. Just like Uber operated in Toronto for 6 years before the government actually legislated them. And the only reason why they were allowed to do that is because the people demanded Uber to exist. And so they existed while they worked out the nuances of how to regulate it. So right now, governments are sitting in back rooms and trying to figure out how to regulate our market. But the beautiful thing about it is we're making money right now. I live completely off of digital assets. Everything I do, I make money from digital assets, and that's how I live. I just finished telling you, I'm on my way to Jamaica for July 4th. I'm on my way to Ghana, to Nigeria, to Libya, to Uganda. All of this is happening this year, and it's from the money I make from digital assets. So I can network with anybody who wants to have more money, your financial advisor, insurance, right? You want to pay your insurance fees? You need some money, right? So let's hook up and let's make it happen.
Okay. All right. Thank you, powerful Steve. Appreciate that. Mona Walrun. Mona, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right. Hi, Mona.
How are you all doing?
Doing great, doing great. Mona, tell us more about yourself. You know, what do you do?
You have 10 days? Actually, I do a number of things at this moment. I have a sole proprietorship as my main business. However, so I sort of wear two hats in a way because I'm one of the directors of Black Youth Empowerment Advocates of Peel because my two partner directors, we've been working with young people, Black youth, and supporting them so that they feel good about themselves. They know that they're very important. They have something to share for the world, and we give them opportunities to assume leadership roles. The city has been very, very kind to us, and we have recently incorporated 2021 just so we can protect ourselves. And we have we've serviced 9 young people so far last year and this year, where they were part of actually speaking at the renaming of the park in Brampton to Emancipation Park, opening Black History Month at City Hall. They were part of the police steering committee. They have been panelists at Black History Month programs. And one of them we co-mentored to present. This was in 2018. We co-mentored a young person to co-present with us at the UNAPSI Provincial Conference, because we feel that their voices are not being heard the way we want them to be heard. And we talked with them, we got their feedback. And so we're very, very happy with what we're doing. And on the other business side, what I do, I have always had a membership with Legal Shield. I've benefited from Legal Shield in many ways. And in fact, I am an author, and I had written a resource for teachers. In fact, I had run a complete election in my classroom from the call of the election until the speeches. And someone had heard about it from the Learning Partnership. They wanted me to write one for the provinces, something that can go to all the school boards, but they wanted only to give me an honorarium. So I contacted my provider law firm, and they guided me to make sure my name is on it because I wanted my name to be there. And that happened. And my sisters have benefited, and my nephew, who was always stopped by the police every 5 seconds, it seems, she actually got a membership, and that stopped them because whenever a police would stop him, all he needed to do was to pull the little card out and show it to them. So you see he had a provider law. And so that helps. So right now, what I have discovered from my own business is the need for legal support. And so currently I am involved with serving, well, I've just begun really to serve small businesses. When I say small, I mean under 100 employees. So I recently completed the training program for employee benefits training program. And from next week, I'll be working with a field trainer just as a partner, just because of they have the experience and I have the connections. And so I will be reaching out to a variety of businesses and working with them so that their employees can feel protected and feel comfortable, because many people don't understand their rights. And I have attended a number of training symposiums with through Legal Shield, and I like what I saw, and I want to empower people, and hopefully there'll be a lot of our Black people who will listen to some of the things, because sometimes we believe that we know it all. Well, none of us knows everything. And I'm not saying they have to join what I am doing, but at least just listen and learn and take it from there. And so, I mean, so how do I get people, how do I get involved with community groups? Well, I've done, my history has been public health nursing and public health consultant for the City of Toronto. And I am a member of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. So I do have communities, and of course, it's the City of Brampton. I make sure I attend those entrepreneurship programs. And I'm always open to new knowledge. So I have people on the internet that I've never met, physically, but they give me a lot of support. And so I have that community alive. It's not Facebook, it's just folks who attended something. They got my name and my number, and they sent me emails. I respond to the ones that I feel comfortable with. And so I take it from there. And I want to really thank you, though, for what you're doing, Richard, because so many people don't realize the benefits of collaboration, that we all can share this. And from the young lady who spoke earlier, even though she said she's older, my granddaughter is 25, but I don't put an age to anything. That's why I never disclose my physical age. I do not want to be put in a box. I feel that you are as old as you feel, and as long as your mind is working and you can contribute, you have a duty to contribute to the community. That's how I look at it. So next week, I will be attending the Collision Conference. Actually, in March, there was Women's Month, and so they gave us a 2-for-1 ticket. So I'm taking another senior person with me. She doesn't have much experience with technology, but I said to her, come, let's go learn. And let's practice things. There are a number of things I don't know, but we will learn, and we can come back and practice different apps and so forth. But we never stop learning. And so thanks for giving me this opportunity to share. And I look forward to connecting with all of you at some point or another, and also to keep on reminding you to support us with our Black youth, because if we don't support them, I don't think we should cry racism, and I don't think we should ask other people to. I think we first have to be the extended parents and give them wings and watch them and encourage them and tell them that whatever they can conceive in their mind, they can achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. We're not yet done with you. First off, I want to say a few things that you said there. I really want to acknowledge you on that. Thank you for joining this, because again, like, this is a platform. We're just setting the stage, right? But if you set the stage and no one attends, then we cannot do anything. So for everyone attending today, I really want to thank everyone for coming on board here, right? And of course, we want for the next session for everyone to invite more people to come on board. But Mona, and then also I want you to I want to thank you for expressing that thing to the young lady Kathy who was on here and mentioning that she was older. And yeah, I agree with you. Definitely she is young. I know her personally, and she is definitely young. So, thank you for re-emphasizing that. So she'll, and I'm sure she knows it as well, right? And that's important that you put out there, definitely, because we're if we're young and we're vibrant, we're excited. There's always so much for us to do. We all have a contribution in this world, and we're not too old ever, as long as you have that energy and inspiration to go out and make that difference in the world. So thank you for that. So question I want to ask you, right? What role does networking play in your business, and how do you approach it?
Well, I approach it from the beginner's perspective, in a sense, because I look for people who, I listen to others. I value what they have to contribute, and I share what I have, and then we talk about it. So I learn from them, and they learn from me, and so it's really a collaboration. And as I mentioned about the people I meet on the internet who can connect with me by email, then they know that I don't know everything, and I know that they don't know everything. But together, we help each other to learn and to keep abreast of things. So right now, for example, last night we were on one of these programs. I know nothing about podcasting, but and I was asking some questions, and I wasn't ashamed to ask. I figured if you don't ask, you don't learn.
Mhm.
And so this young man, he sent me a message, and he sent me a masterclass, a free masterclass that he's sending to all of us so that we can learn about podcasting. And I thought, God, this is so amazing. It's amazing what the Lord does, because he knows I know nothing about podcasting, and I have no embarrassment about it. I don't know, but I'm willing to learn.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So can you share any valuable lessons or insights you gained as an entrepreneur?
Yes, actually, valuable lessons I gained. I remember 1 year before I started home business, I had paid back, it was Revenue Canada in those days, and I paid back, and I was complaining to one of my managers in public health that I work so hard, I service the community so well, and yet I have to pay back taxes. And she asked me, she said, "Do you have a house?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, sell something." And I thought, okay. So I found a newspaper and I decided to go into Discovery Toys. And it's amazing. I learned then I was getting money back instead of paying, instead of owing the CRA, well, it's now CRA. I was able to claim a number of things at my home. And then we went to visit one of our friends who had a little get together for a sales get together. And I told them all the same story. And I said, if you have a house, find something that you can sell. You don't have to join my organization. You're welcome to, but you don't have to. There are other products on the market. And so I learned that. And so then when I joined the school board, because of the question about conflict of interest, I didn't want the government to assume that I am making money on the backs of the parents that I'm servicing. So I decided to switch and go into skincare. That way, and I used the city of Toronto instead of using connections from Peel. I used from the city of Toronto because I made good connections out there to tell them what I was doing and that I was willing to show them how to look after their skin. And there was no strings attached. If they can give me referrals, that would be perfect. But I wasn't expecting them to buy necessarily. And I got a lot of referrals. In fact, I got people that I just stopped and dropped off products, had no idea who they were, what they looked like. And so I've learned a lot through networking. And I believe that I reach and I tell everyone who is, they say 5 feet away from you, I just tell them what I do. And I'm not asking them to do anything, I'm just sharing. So I
Mhm.
said, this is what I do. And please let me know if you do something, let me know. Always willing to learn.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mona.
You are welcome.
All right, Hittin.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
Hi.
Yeah, so Hittin, please tell us who you are, what you do. Let us know more about yourself.
My name is Hitin. I am a realtor. I am a renovator. I also recently started another business. It's actually in the waste management. We provide bins for construction cleanup, home cleanup. So any of the realtors that are out here that are looking to get, bins for their clients to remove, to clean up their house before listing or before they move out, give me a call. By schooling, I am a mechanical engineer. I started my business as a renovator about 4.5 years ago. And I started because I had the experience working in the industry, and I figured that, why not work for myself rather than working for somebody else. And that's how I got started about 4.5 years ago, and still going strong.
Okay, good stuff, good stuff. So with your business, right? Can you share a success story or milestone that you achieved with your business?
Yes. So so as you start off, you're trying to learn, grow, learn the in and out of the businesses and how to, get a referral going, and stuff like that. So one of my achievements was that through one of my referrals, I actually in the first year, I actually ended up getting a commercial project, which usually takes a little while when you start off. And that commercial project was worth about $250,000, biggest project I've had until then. And that was actually in the Yorkville area. and that was me creating a escape room, one of those game rooms in downtown Yorkville. So, that was one of the bigger achievements that I've had. And then, since then I've had more milestones and successes, but that would be one of the milestones that I was very proud of, within my first year of starting my own business and seeing, hey, there is hope, and, there's something that I'm on the right track and doing something right.
Nice, nice, nice. So can you share any valuable lessons or insights you gained as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Running your own business is tricky. I would say depends on the field that you're in. I also am a realtor. I don't practice as much because I'm quite busy with my renovations and stuff like that. But what I've learned is that communication is the key, especially being in the industry that I am in. Everybody thinks that if you're a contractor, you are a millionaire. You're making millions of dollars because, we're not dealing with smaller scale money, right? Somebody wants to renovate their kitchen. You give them a quotation of $30,000-$40,000. They're like, oh yeah, this guy's going to make $10,000, $15,000 off of that. And they're doing that. So one of the things I learned is, communicating with your clients, getting to know your clients, walking them through the process that, hey, this is how the whole process is going to work. Just communicating is key, because you can't leave it up to just, oh, they will know or they will understand, which is one of the learning points that I had to do in my first year. I mean, even sometimes now, when you get acquainted with your clients so closely because they're alike and whatnot, and you say, oh, they understand what you're, where you're coming from. And when it comes to the financial aspects of it, you kind of understand, like, hey, you know what, like, business is business. You should communicate certain things that needs to happen rather than, leaving it up to just their interpretation.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. My wife's on here as well, and she definitely stepped my game up on that big time. I would say even in real estate, some clients that you have, they want updates, even though there's not really any updates. They want an update that there's no updates. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, no, and when I was actually working for Baycrest Hospital, one of the things we had to do was every Friday before we go home for the weekend, update our clients. Our clients are director of the hospital, or director of pharmacy, or whoever that might be that you're doing the project for. And even if there is no update, it's, hey, this is what's happening next week. That's the update that you need to give them. So yeah, no, definitely communicate. And sometimes you kind of forget about it, but it's always there back of your mind that you need to communicate with them.
Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. So another question for you, right? So how do you approach innovation and staying ahead of the curve in your industry?
With innovation, construction, there's basic things that they don't change. For example, you're building a basement or a house or any structure, you gotta have framing, you gotta have drywall, you gotta have concrete, you gotta have those things. So the basic things don't change, but the innovation part is you trying to essentially optimize how you get the project done, right? So you learn through your previous experiences and what the current industry market is doing, and you try to innovate, and through that, by just how do you make something easier for yourself. And with new technology, for example, up until 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you wanted to do a fence and you needed to put the post up. You buy a bag of concrete, you buy a post, and you dig a hole and you put concrete in there. Now there is something called foam concrete, and you know, that's innovation. That's something that, you know, new technology that's coming up. But you still see now today, you know, even though this technology exists for like 2 to 3 years, people still use the old technology because they're so used to it.
Mhm.
And you know, and it's hard to kind of use the new technology because clients, when they go and Google, hey, like, how do you do a fence, for example, and they're gonna be like, yeah, dig a hole, put a post, put some concrete in there, and you know, that's how you install a post for your concrete. So when you now bring this new technology, they kind of like are like, whoa, what is this, right? So with that, like, you have to educate your client that this is the innovation, this is what's happening that is new. You know, recently they've talked about, and there's certain areas that they're in the US actually, they're bringing out a different type of drywall, you know, and it has more features than the regular drywall that we use, to eliminate certain things that, like, such as insulation and stuff like that, because it's like a two-in-one product. But as you know, new technology costs a lot more. And in construction, it kind of gets tricky because, excuse me, everybody's always looking for the bottom dollar, right? They're like, oh no, don't use that. I rather just use the old school way of doing things. And it's about, you know, educating your client in order to be ahead of the curve. And it's very difficult in this industry to do so.
Okay, okay. All right, last question for you, right? What are your long-term goals and vision for your business?
So my long-term goal, and actually, I came up with this goal in the first year when I started my business, and I came up with the org chart, which I kind of look at every month or so, to kind of remind myself what's the path that I need to take. And my long-term goal is to essentially, and the reason actually I started this business is I wanted to change the perception of contractors within people. You know, when you say the word contractor, people think, oh yeah, those guys, you know, the guys that are going to run away with your money, or they're not going to pick up your phone call, and they won't get back to you in a timely manner. And that was actually one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this, is I wanted to change that perception. And, you know, see, but again, like, you know, there's just me, right? Like that is, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but, you know, there's me that is trying to change a perception of 7 billion people in the world about contractors. And that's why I started. And then that led me to saying, okay, I'm going to become a contractor. I'm going to help change that perception. And then from there, I'm going to go into investment and flipping houses. And that's one of the reasons why I actually got my real estate license. And then from there, my other part of the business would be to use my engineering degree and have a firm, which will give you a turnkey solution from design to construction, right? And then a project management team that would oversee this, and then a property management team and a facility management team that will essentially, you know, look at those aspects of the world, for example, like multifamily, or, you know, hotels or what have you, you know, later down the road. So that is my plan. I am slowly working towards that. I am trying to get into commercial a lot more, because what I find is residential gets a little too complicated. Again, it goes back to the clients and the understanding of the clients, and you know, them just thinking that, hey, like, why are you charging me 50,000, for example, when somebody could do it for 30? Well, you know, the reason why I'm charging is because I'm not going to cut any corners. I'm going to do it right, and you don't have to worry about it, right? And you know, that's why that's my long-term plan, essentially.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. That's amazing. You know, thank you everyone for, you know, expressing what you do, you know, giving insight on your experiences, your visions, and I'm sure all of us learned from it. I learned a lot, from the session so far, right? And final question that I want to pose to everyone here is, the question of breaking bread, right? Because this is something that I feel needs to be, more like within our, just we need to be talking about this as much as possible, because breaking bread, it's like if we're thinking to break bread, then it also applies that win-win solution, right? Because true success, is measured by the impact and upliftment you bring to the lives of others, right? Surpassing material wealth and personal achievements. It lies in the number of lives you touch and the positive ripple effects that you create, right? Like how Portia was talking and she was saying, oh, send this information on, go tell someone else about this information, right? Because you embrace the power of breaking bread, both literally and metaphorically, to extend your hand, share your knowledge, and selflessly help others. In doing so, you leave a lasting legacy, as Portia mentioned again, of true success and fulfillment. So if anyone here can just, the floor is open, and if you could just share, with what you do, how are you breaking bread, right? And of course, there's financially, right? There's and then there's also in terms of metaphorically, in terms of how are you spreading what you do, to help lift others. I could go down a list, or if someone wants to unmute themselves or put up their hand, and we could go in that order. But I think this is a really, really, really important question to ask, and for people that ponder and have in their minds all the time. We got a hand up, Portia.
I think like with me, how I'm doing that is, I love giving other people opportunities to collaborate and utilize my platform to get reach, right? So a lot of times I'm always like collaborating, and I think I've even done that with you too. Like, let's do something, because I think like we need to start thinking from a bigger picture. And like one of the quotes that always guides my whatever action that I take is, I want to be the change in the world that I want to see, right? So if I want to see change, I need to be the change, and I also have to give people the opportunity who might not be able to have the opportunity to be able to evoke change as well. So a lot of people, like there's a couple of people that I will have at my workshops. And I'm like, you know what? I sit back, you use my platform, let's teach. Because at the end of the day, the bigger picture is let's help people get the information. And the information might not always be from me. I might not always be the seed sower. I might be the waterer. You might be the seed sower, but the Bible says that God will give the increase. So our job is just to share, collaborate with people. We're not here to compete. People are killing people just to compete. And I loved what what's her name said at the beginning, Kathy, right? She said there's enough money for everybody. There's enough money for everybody. And it says that if you give value, that return is just going to be that your pockets are going to be filled. So do the right thing for people. Love on people. The world, we have so many issues in this world already, right? Like sometimes even your breaking bread might be walking by the street and smiling to somebody who was probably thinking that the world was over for them. That could be your breaking bread. It's not always about you just talking and bringing people. No, sometimes that could be your breaking bread. And that's what Mora is trying to say. We need to also be able to break bread with the next generation as well.
Yeah, that's a big
We
one.
need to be able to break bread with the next generation. Like, yes, we're building our business. We're trying to make money. We all got money goals. But I'm telling you, your money goals is in direct proportion to how much you're serving. Serve your community, serve the youth. The youth need us to serve them because they can't serve us unless we serve them. So if we do that, I'm telling you, all of us, we will come here in a year's time and we're going to be so overflowing in this community that we're going to be shocked. And it's only going to be because you decided to sit down, look beyond yourself, and seek to collaborate with other people so that whatever it is that we need to contribute our contributions to the world, we can all do it and make it happen.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. Thank you so much, Portia. Hittin, your hand is up.
Yes, pretty much what Portia just said is collaborating with people. You know, I am a renovator myself, and you know, people reach out to me for work, and let's just say that I am on the higher end of a quotation. I still don't mind referring to somebody that I know who does good quality work that might fit their budget. So it's not all about, hey, if I don't get the project, I'm not gonna pass the work on to somebody else, because guess what? When they might have a job for me, they'll call upon me because if the project might be too big for them, or maybe too small sometimes, right? You know, Richard, you called me the other day for some work at your property, and I said, you know what, like, I'm not, you know, I'm busy, but this is something that we need to do. You called me, you're trying to break bread. Let's do it, and you know, that's just how it goes. So definitely coming together, like Portia said, you know, make sure that again, like it says in the slide right here, right, selflessly help others. Like that is something that you should do. I am a realtor myself. I don't practice as much, but you know what, somebody reaches out to me, and if I'm not well versed in it, you know, I'll pass on somebody else's number, right? And kind of like go from there as well. So and then I also have a referral program. So for people that are interested in making some money, you know, I give them a referral. I let them know about my referral program as well. You know, if I get a successful project from you guys, a referral from you, you know, we can, like, I give up to $1,000 depending on the size of the project, obviously, or up to 10% depending on how it goes. So that's another way of me breaking bread with people, and you know, making sure that putting my name out there, you know, is beneficial to them as well, and it might help them in some way, right? So yeah.
Thank you for that, man, and I'm grateful that you have, you know, it's these incentives that are in place, because yeah, it's rewarding. There's yesterday I wasn't, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Tuesday. What day? It was Tuesday. Wow, the week flies. But I have a client of mine, and I got him an investment property a few years ago, right? And you know, the tenants, they were good for the first 2 years, but then after COVID, you know, he gave them a few breaks, but you know, they ended up not paying for a few months. He got like 20,000 in like pretty much back payments where they needed to pay over 20 grand. So he had to go to the landlord tenant board, and then he got the order to have the sheriff remove them from the premises. And in that 1 week, they were able to pay it all off, you know. But you know, all throughout the whole process, you know, I was there just, you know, just helping him out to the best I can. I'll go there because initially he lived in BC, right? He just recently moved back to Ontario, but I was dealing with the back and forth with the tenants and going there and doing all this stuff, you know, for him, you know, just on the strength of, you know, like, yeah, obviously I want him to be he's an investor. This is kind of like his first investment property. I want it to be a good experience for him, right? But it came down to on Tuesday, he removed the order when the sheriff came, right? And then we went in the house, we re-signed a new agreement because there's another person that's in there. So now it's the late, like two, like pretty much it was a husband, I guess is our ex now, but you know, they separated, and she had a friend that moved in with her who was a lot more responsible, right? Because he wasn't, right? And they you know, they agreed to the new terms, there's a new price and everything like that. And my client was really happy, right? And after that, I went on my way back, I was heading back. It was in Orangeville, so heading back, and there's like some really good nature, like trees and all that. I'm like, yeah, let me go and meditate, give thanks, you know, to God and stuff. So I was there and I was meditating, and you know, before I went into my meditation, I got a phone call from my client, right? His name's Garish. I'll put it up there because it's good people's, right? And he called me and he's like, "Hey, Rich, you know, all you done, man. Thank you so much, man. How much do you want?" Right? I said, yeah, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. Just next time you have any real estate things, just reach out to me. He's like, of course, you already know you're my number one guy. You're my number one real estate guy, right? I'm like, all right, that's good luck, good luck. But then when I went in my meditation, right, what I was told was, Garish, he wants to bless you with something. Receive your blessings, right? He reached out to give you a blessing, and you blocked it. Don't block your blessings, right? And I was like, wow, that's deep. So when I came out of my meditation, I called him and I said, hey, Garish, what you're offered, anything you send, I'll appreciate it, because I understand that you just wanted to send me a blessing, right? And I accept your blessing, so anything you send, I'm grateful, right? He's like, all right, Rich, no problem, right? And just today he sent me $300, right? But he even said, he's like, hey, Rich, I just sent over the thing with a smiley face and everything like that. So he was happy to break bread. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a form of gratitude that he wanted to express himself in a way, and thank you wasn't enough. Saying thank you wasn't enough, right? He wanted to extend and break bread financially. He wanted to send me some money, because that's what he feels would give him, that feeling of I'm appreciative, right? So, I just wanted to share that, with everyone, because a lot of times we are blocking our blessings, right? There's things being sent our way, and we're kind of like stopping them from getting through to us, but we have to let that flow happen. Tristan, please. I know you have something good for us.
Even with that, Richard, I just want to interject right there, because not only were you hindering him from, being a blessing to you, but you were hindering his blessing, because he can't receive a harvest on a seed that's not sown.
Go deeper, please.
So the fact that the Bible says it's more blessed to give than to receive. Why? When you give, you have a harvest. So if he wasn't able to release that seed into the ground of your life, then he can't receive a harvest either. So you're going to be blocking your blessing plus his return.
That's deep. That's deep. Thank you for adding that. Everyone, you see the wealthy link up. This is why we're linking up, right? So we could get this information, because that touched deep right now. That touched deep with me, Tristan. Thanks for sharing that. Kathy, I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, I have to jump in, because actually, Richard, you taught me that so many years ago, because I was blocking so many blessings because I'm a giver, and people would say like, oh, it could even be a compliment. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, no, or whatever. Or someone gives you, no, I don't. And then Richard taught me, no, you're blocking your blessings. So I make a point to spread that to other people. Now, my sister, I'll be like, oh, I'm here. I want you to have this top. I don't wear it anymore. Oh, no. Oh, no, you're blocking my blessings. So then she's like, oh, here, I'm giving you $20 for that top. I'm like, no. Oh, shit, I'm blocking you. It's kind of become a thing. But it's funny because it doesn't have to be like a monetary thing. But I find like I love to compliment people. So because I know what an impact it can make in someone. You go through the drive-through at Tim Hortons or Starbucks or wherever, and, you can say, oh my God, your voice is so cute, or, oh my God, your smile is so pretty. And you like just watch the reaction of people when you give them that compliment, and then you feel good. You know what I mean? It could be like, I will pick someone in a grocery store who looks all stylish. I'll be like, okay, you like put it together today. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh my God, like, they could be like an older lady that like, she puts so much effort into the way she looks every single day. People need to hear it. You know what I mean? So I actually, it was funny because I do that all the time. Some of my friends get really annoyed with me because they're like, oh, you got to tell everyone they're so pretty. And I'm like, well, I like pretty things. And so I caught my friend doing it the other day. Okay. We were out, and I said to the cashier, I'm like, oh my God, like, so cute. Like, she was so perky, smiley, her smile, her aura was so beautiful. And then on the way out, my friend stopped the manager and said, "Oh, that cashier," and she said the same thing.
Okay.
I'm like, "Oh, I love that."
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, that's amazing.
So yeah, no, it's definitely something that Richard taught me, like not to receive my own blessings, like my own. For
That's
sure.
amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Kathy. And you see the ripple effect?
Mhm.
The fact that your friend is saying that now, even on her own, she's gonna go out and say it. And just like what Tristan was talking about, by you doing that, how do you feel when you're saying that?
Exactly.
You're right. You feel
Exactly.
so good. I hit in one time we're out for a walk down the street, and some guy, he was in a nice suit, like just like you're saying, like you could tell in the morning he took time to get ready.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you're looking sharp, my brother. He's like, oh, thank you, man. Can you hit to remember that? He's like, oh,
Yes,
so
yes, I
nice.
do. Yes, I do.
And
Yeah,
then he
yeah.
walked away. He probably walked a little like prouder and
Yeah,
taller,
exactly. His
like,
chest
"Yeah, man,
raised
I'm
up
a
a little
good
more. For
No,
sure.
that was good.
Hinton, you
I
have
just
your
had
hand up.
to.
Go ahead.
I just want to add something to piggyback off what Kathy said. I listened to this guy named Rob Dial Jr. He's a mindset mentor. I listened to his podcast, and he says one thing at the end of his episode, and it kind of like correlates to what she was saying is, make it your mission to make somebody else's day better. And since I've been listening to him for like the last 6-7 months, like that's something that I kind of like also portray, like kind of carry through in my life too, to essentially give somebody a compliment or what have you, to just make it your mission to make somebody else's day better. I just wanted to kind of throw that in there, and that kind of gets people going, right?
Well, definitely. And I would like to say everyone here has made my day better. I was coming from a little, like, I don't know if I had a fever or whatever, but even right now, I forgot I had it, to be honest, because just the vibes and everything that's going on right now. So thank you everyone for being on here, right? And the spinning wheel, this is something that we want to do often, for you to invite people, invite a guest for our next session. Please invite our guests, because we have prizes that we want to give out. Right. And, for you to invite people to our next wealthy link up, we're going to be spinning the wheel, for every name, that everyone that has someone who invited them. Right. If you invite anyone, we're putting your name on the spinning wheel, for you to win prizes and stuff, because we want this to grow. Right. We want, for more entrepreneurs, more business people, like what Kathy said, when she got into the role of entrepreneurship, when she's first started, she didn't have a support beside her or behind her, right? So it's like, having support, people that you could bounce things off with, people that you can go and just share ideas with, people that can share your experiences with that maybe they haven't gone through, that they're about to go through, right? There's so much that we can learn from each other. And, and having like I said, this is a platform for us to be able to do that, right? So, like what Powerful Steve was saying, these are tools that have been invested in, right? So, like with the Zoom, it's the paid subscriptions. We have breakout rooms where we could go in breakout rooms, we could get deeper, right? We could do this with more people, right? So definitely our next session, please, come along as well. We're doing it. We want to do this once a month, and invite others to come, invite others to be a part of it. I already see some collaborations that could happen, just from today's session, right? And after today, will we meet again? That's another thing, right? Like with everyone that's on here right now, are we linking up? Are we going to have that wealthy link up? Are we going to be, connecting? Are we going to, hey, you're on that wealthy link up? Like I said, the form that's on there, you fill it out. We want to send that out to everybody and connect, connect with each other, right? I pretty much everyone on here I've been connected with, and I will continue to connect with, right? And and beyond that, we want the more we know each other and what we're able to do and what we're able to offer, the more we could go out in the world and know others do that. I like what Hinton said, when it's talking about even breaking bread, in a sense where if he goes to a job and his quote's too high, right? Most contractors will just say, okay, whatever, forget that. And then they'll just go on and find another quote. But what Hinton does said, hey, you know what? There's another contractor, maybe they could do this job for you. Maybe their prices are more in alignment with you, right? That's really, you know, going out and beyond and really breaking bread, because he knows that he's not able to do it, but someone else, you know, you can help someone else feed their family, right? By setting on that referral. And the only way that we know who's available is by us linking up. Tristan said, does the Wealthy Link Up have a Facebook group? Create Wealth Network. So everything's under Create Wealth Network. So if you go on Facebook, Create Wealth Network, and we have wealthylinkup.ca, right? Wealthylinkup.ca. You go on that site. They can register on there, and on there it actually shows, you know, how they were referred to, right? And you know, like, and what we want to do is just fill out the form, you know, get your information out there. We want everyone's business to be out and showcased. And of course, everything is a seed, right? Just like Tristan was talking about sowing that seed, and it's going to grow, right? So this is the first part, right? And we're watering it, we're nurturing it, right? And as we grow, we want to have that database and we want to have, like, there's so many things that could grow from this, apps and, you know, so many different things, right? But it starts here. It starts with us talking to each other. It starts with us getting to know each other, right? And networking, you know, which is important. There's so many networking events in person. This one's at the comfort of your home, right? So, you know, I feel there should be plenty of people that are on here. I feel with more people, there's more value. You know, the value that I've received today was amazing, you know, and, you know, as this continues to grow, I can only expect for it to get better and better. So any final words from anyone that's here before we sign off? Or we have two people that just joined us. Please, if you don't mind, I see Chris and Rahil. Chris and Rahil, if you don't mind just sharing, you know, who you are, what you do.
Hi, you're talking to me. I just got on. I didn't hear everything you said.
Yeah. So we're wrapping up, but, you know, since you're on here, we're gonna do this every month. But since you're here, please tell us who you are, what you do.
Yeah, sorry. I had another meeting.
No problem.
So my name is Rahel Peja David. I work for post-secondary education during the day, but I also run a training and consulting business called 1000 Training and Consulting. And we offer training on effective communication, project management for projects with a social impact. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, you know, we'd love to know more on our next Wealthy Link Up. Please, well, you know, if you have other meetings, obviously you got to go through other meetings, right? But yeah, we definitely want you to expand on that if you can, you know, so we can get better insight. We're talking about breaking bread, you know, so it's not only that we just want to hear what you want to do, but we also want to go out and be, you know, like, go out and share what you do. You know, like, I want to be able to go out, and if I meet someone that needs the services that you offer, you know, I want to be able to say, oh, that's what Rahil does, and then, you know, send people your way, you know. So is there anything else that you want to add to expand on that a little bit?
Sure. I guess what I can say is I believe that if we can communicate effectively, we will avoid and prevent a lot of problems. And so that's why the training focuses on effective communication. And we offer it online, like we have online courses for people that just want to learn it quickly, get their certificate. We also offer it in person. I actually have an in-person session in Brampton running next Friday. And we also offer it for teams. Most of my clients have been companies, though, who hire us to come in and work with their team on how to effectively communicate. Otherwise, the projects that I've done have been in Canada, Jamaica, Ghana, South Africa. They're usually projects that make an impact and improve the lives of women, children, I don't know. Just there's some type of improvement. And that's like my way of doing social work, but, you know, being paid for it kind of thing, you know, there's some element of give back. And so, yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that.
Okay, and then in terms of you were talking about it briefly, like give back, and we talk about that as well, breaking bread. You know, so how do you break bread? You know, in terms of, yes, like what you're explaining right now, and beyond that, like what it is that you do, that where you're able to expand what you do and uplift others, in a sense of breaking bread.
Well, one thing that I've built into my business is I have what I call my boss squad. And this is a group of women who might be interested in running a business, starting a business, or working for themselves, and they don't know how to, or they need more support with it. So I share resources with them and I mentor them. And then when I have projects, I hire them to work with me so that they can make an income, learn small business skills, and build their confidence in small business as well. And then I volunteer for an organization in South Africa called Covenant Garden Estate. I've been volunteering with them for, I don't know, maybe 7 years now. And I help them raise funds to build social enterprises in the community called Mathibastad, and to help the families who a large number of them have like HIV/AIDS, and so the children are often without parents. So we grow vegetables in the community, we run programs, support groups, we have staff that go out to them, and we also train them. So one of our most recent trainings was we trained about 40 women in the community. We call it ECE here, but over there they call it ECD, early childhood development. We call it ECE here. And so that they can find jobs and also work in they call it a creche in South Africa, but it's a daycare here. So we run a daycare. It's for profit, and the money goes back to the community and back to the community hub as well, and hiring people from the community. So that's some volunteer work that I do.
Wow, that's amazing. You know what's interesting? Like the work that you do in South Africa and in different countries. I know Kathy, she's on here as well, and her sister, has a goal of building like is a Montessori or some
Like just a school.
A school in like somewhere around the world. So that's what we want to do here. We want to be able to create these connects, to maybe you could help direct her in the right direction of, how she could participate maybe in what you have going on, and, help fulfill, her dreams and her requests. Right. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that information. Please, if you don't mind, fill the form. You're going to see the link that's sent in a text there, because we want to get everyone's contact info, and we're going to share it with everyone, so everyone knows what everyone does, and you can reach out. Let's reach out to each other and let's connect. So thank you so much, Raheel.
Yeah, no problem. You said that there's a form in the chat?
Yeah, it's gonna get posted. It's gonna get
Oh,
posted.
okay.
Yeah, it was in there, but it'll get posted again. You'll see it very, very soon.
Okay.
Chat, if you could post that, right? And Chris, you can finish us off. Thank you for joining. Are you here with us, Chris? Chris MDM Prez. Okay, I think he's muted and he's not speaking right now. But guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone for being on this Wealthy Link Up session. It is recorded, so you'll get the replay as well. A lot of great insight, a lot of great information that we all got from each other. And imagine if we continue to grow this Wealthy Link Up, right? With many new entrepreneurs, and everyone just coming with their experiences and just sharing their experiences, and us breaking bread with each other, right? Everyone wins. That's the objective, for everyone to win, right? And as we connect with each other more, that's the only thing that can happen. No one can do anything by themselves, right? It's all through connecting with others, right? And of course, when you connect with other like-minded people, then that even takes it to another level. And everyone being on this network right now, that means we're all on the same frequency, mean that we're all on the same vibration. So definitely am honored to have everyone on here. Thank you so much. And then we'll be back at it again next month. Raheel, I was mentioning, we have many prizes and stuff as well for guests that you invite. So, the site is wealthylinkup.ca. And if you send anyone on there, asks who referred you, right? They put your name in there. Every time anyone's referred, we're going to put their name on the spinning wheel, and we're going to spin to win prizes. All right. So look for the next Wealthy Link Up. Thank you, everyone. God bless.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you.